Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in or logging in or whatever you do to see this series. I really appreciate you sticking around for this next section. This time we're going to talk about microphones. How do we choose them? What do we use? Ways around them. Just a quick step through. We'll do this in each section, just kind of stepping through each chain for recording. We use a microphone. It can be a boom microphone overhead or a lav microphone that's on the person. If we use a lav, we can use a transmitter and receiver, or we can hardwire it directly into the mixer recorder. You can choose to have a mixer. If you're going directly to a camera that has XLR inputs, for instance, you can go ahead and just use a mixer. Or you can have a recorder and plug directly into the recorder like we're doing today. Or you can use a mixer into a recorder. Really doesn't matter, it's just more stuff to have. And you have headphones, which is one of the last pieces in the chain. So, going back to microphones, my preferred method of capturing audio in the field, that is people talking, dialogue, an interview, whatever it is to use a boom microphone or shotgun or hypercardioid. You know, there's lots of names for these, but basically it's a directional, very directional microphone, and they come in different lengths. There's anything from, you know, $100 ones all the way up to multi-$1,000 ones. But they all have some general rules, and that is the length of them, what you're going to capture. The good rule of thumb on these is to match the length to the size of the room. So in a small room like this, it's got an 8-foot ceiling. This would be actually a great mic to use. It's short, and I have a little bit of space above me. If it's too long of a microphone, I bump the ceiling. But there's an acoustic reason for using a short microphone in a small room. It actually reduces the amount of echo. The next length is a medium shotgun. And this is a good general all-purpose mic. You can use this everywhere. You can use it in a room like this. You can use it in a bigger room. You can use it outside. So if you're going to buy one or rent one microphone that you're going to have to use in different areas, such as your shoot involves different locations throughout the day, this is one to use. And then there's a longer shotgun. They usually come about twice the length of this. And they're mostly for outside work. I've used them in gymnasiums in order to isolate sounds. That's about the only time I would use them inside and actually have pretty good luck with them. But they do a good job. Now, how do you use a boom and why? Well, for me, it's a more natural sound. When I'm talking to someone or two people having a conversation, it's generally 5 feet away. If you place a lavalier microphone on me, which is on my chest right now, and this is the one that we're actually using for the interview, the disadvantages of a lavalier on the chest is that you don't listen to someone with your ear on their chest, so it has a kind of an unnatural sound. It's very close sounding, it's very bassy, and sometimes if I turn my head away over here and over here, you kind of lose intelligibility. With an overhead mic, and this would be out of frame just above, and it's probably out of frame now, I can place it 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet away, and it's a more natural sound. It's as if I'm just talking to you. Now, disadvantages are you do pick up more ambience around. You hear air conditioners, you hear, if you're outside, you hear more traffic with it, but it does a good job of increasing the amount of dialogue that you're hearing. So it's a trade-off. With a lavalier microphone, you have less ambient noise that you usually pick up, but again, it is close to the chest, or if you have to mount it in the hair or up here to hide it because of a costume, you have a problem of noise. Any kind of movement of clothing, if it's nylon, if they're wearing a costume, the actual costumes make noise. The actual wire that is attached to it can make noise if anything moves against it. So you have a lot of issues you're dealing with. With a boom mic, you have less of those kind of issues and more of the other kind of issues, such as extraneous sounds bleeding into it. When you're using a boom, you can use it with of course, no filter at all over air wind filter, windsock. You can use it with a piece of foam. If it's going to move or if there's slightest bit of air, be very careful if you use it without anything over it, because just someone opening a door on the other side of the room can cause a little tiny bit of gust that the air can reach it and it can sound like thunder. So you have to be very careful. Each component that you put over it to try to control and break up wind and air movement also reduces the quality of what you're recording. So if you were to cover this completely with, you know, a blanket, it would be very muffled. So we try to pick material that breaks up the wind but still allows sound to go through. The next one would be this boom, and this is hollow right now because I actually have the mic out of it. But as you can see, it's more like a hairnet or pantyhose that's over it. And what happens is that as the air comes through, it breaks it up and allows the sound to come through. It reduces the quality just a little bit. It's actually better than the windsock that I previously had on it. And if you're in a high wind situation, maybe you work for Weather Channel, you can have one of these over it. This is called a dead cat. I know, terrible name. This one actually comes from Australia, so they call it a dead wombat, which I just love. And this would be in extreme circumstances that I would use this outside when it's windy. And again, it reduces the quality of the sound. You lose treble, you lose bass, but guess what? You get the recording. So you can make up for some of that when you bring it into edit by increasing the treble and the bass. Let's move on to the lavaliers. The lavalier I'm wearing, as we talked about, picks up right next to the chest, and it sounds pretty good. This is a Sanken COS 11D. It's a very nice microphone. It has very nice treble high end that it picks up. It rejects a lot of bass. But with the Sennheiser wireless kit that I had, it came with its own microphone. And Sennheiser makes really good stuff. And the microphone that they package with the basic kit is not a bad microphone at all. I mean, it's very satisfying. It's a little thinner sounding than the Sanken or another microphone, but it's definitely worth trying out if you buy one of these packages. And we keep it in our kit as a spare because it's that good that we can use it as a backup if we have to, it doesn't suffer a lot of quality. The other mic I have is a hardwired mic, but you can have these wired different ways. You can have it wired for any kind of a wireless kit. I happen to have it hardwired so that I can plug it directly into my mixer. And I would use this in a situation where the talent is sitting down. They're stationary. They're not moving around because there's too many cables to trip on. And this one is a Tram TR50, and it was a breakthrough microphone when it came out several years ago, I guess maybe a couple decades ago, and they still make it. It's still a great mic. It has a different sound quality than the mic I have on now. It's not a bad or good or better or anything. It's just a different sound quality. And sometimes I choose this one instead of this one based on the way I want it to sound. This is a very good mic for hiding. It's very flat. It comes with a nice little kit that has little vampire clips that has a little cradle that we keep in here. And on the back it has two little clips, and I can clip it inside clothing. It has wind socks in it. It has other types of clips for the cables. It has a tie clip, many different things. It's a great mic to hide. And again, the quality is excellent on this thing. Moving on to the Sanken mic that I have, and this is an upper end lavalier, but if you ever have a chance to rent one of these, I would definitely do it. It comes with a wind cover. It's very tiny. I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. It's about the size of a pea. And a clip that I happen to have on now because I'm wearing it outside of my shirt. I don't care to bury it, but if I want to bury it, It also comes with a little sleeve that you slip the mic in and you slip it underneath and you tape it down. And then there are various third-party mounting devices that you can buy for just about any type of microphone that hides it under clothing and keeps rustle down. Again, the biggest issue we have to deal with is mic and clothing rustle, and that is, you're constantly dealing with it. If the actor moves around a lot, you have to go in between every shot basically and reset it sometimes. In another episode, hopefully we'll talk about how to hide microphones and how to go through that. But another advantage of using lavaliers, besides the freedom of movement and not having to stick a boom in there if you don't have one, because this is on my body, it's an omnidirectional microphone, but when I stick it on my body, it becomes a directional microphone and it picks up everything up here and out and around and off to the side, but blocks anything that's coming from behind, basically. So recently did a shoot where the talent was standing in a kind of a tunnel type of thing, and there was a lot of noise coming from outside of the tunnel. Just so worked out that his back was towards the tunnel and he was facing in towards the structure where we all were, and it was like the background sound almost magically disappeared. And as soon as he turned a little bit like that, the rush of all the sound came out. I also had a boom mic overhead, and it was picking up all the sounds everywhere. It did a good job of picking them up, but we wind up choosing the lavalier in post to use because of the reduction of the outside noise. So that's a good thing that lavaliers can do, is if you have a lot of extraneous noise, the signal level of the main source of sound, which is my mouth at this point, is so loud that it's overriding all the extraneous sounds that are outside of here. In fact, there's an air conditioner running in the next room, and I bet its level is really, really low compared to an open mic such as a boom. When you're going to do this, you want to have a boom and a lav, because you may have a golden take going where everything's working great, actors doing this, or you're interviewing someone for a documentary and you don't really want to stop them. You've got to have a backup. So we have a boom and a lav going at the same time, and you split one on one channel and one on the other channel, and then later on in post you decide which one that sounds best. So always have a backup for your backup. Always have a secondary plan. That is our master plan, is to, when we work on location, we say, what happens when this goes down? Do I have a backup? Well, I have a hardwired kit. What happens when that goes down? Well, I've got a boom. What happens when that goes down? Well, I've got another boom here. What happens when that goes down? We pack up and leave and say, we'll do it another day. But that's 4 backups going for one thing. So there's always a way. So you should always arrive on location with more than one microphone if possible. And we understand that budgets are limited, and my budgets are limited. I can't always bring everything I want to. I don't always own everything that I need to, or rent everything that I absolutely have to have, but we get by, and these are good choices. How much do these cost? Depends if you want to rent or buy. Of course, borrowing is free, and anything that's free is generally better than what you ever expected. But you can rent any of these things from a local rental house. So maybe there's an AV house near you that primarily uses lavaliers for on-stage performances. They're not as good as something for recording, for video, but they get the job done. They'll work. So they usually rent pretty low. You can rent from houses that will overnight it to you, and you, for instance, you may do a week rental and pay for 4 days, and 2 of those days are in transit, shipping to you, shipping back. But it can be a lot cheaper than owning it. If you want to buy it, your investment in a wireless Sennheiser, which is a very, very good system. This happens to be the EW100G3. It's the EW100G3 series. Very, very good. They are definitely underpriced for the quality that you get. I think they're the best value of the ones that I've used in this price range. The kit with the microphone that they supply is maybe $600 to $650. The Sanken is maybe, I think it's like $300 or $400. The Tram is maybe about $250. Other microphones, the ATs, Shure's, Sennheisers, the other ones that they offer are, you know, in the $150 to $200 range for something that's actually going to last you for a while. There are cheaper alternatives that it's kind of like you get what you pay for, but if your level of expectation of quality is lower, they'll get you by. And if you're going for upper quality, you need to invest or rent upper quality stuff. So the next time we're going to talk about cabling. How do you get from one device to the next? It'll be a shorter segment, but it'll definitely be things that you're going to have to know, you're going to want to know, and will help you along the way. Thank you very much.